buy, buy, buy. That's what I've been doing, and I think it's going to work out well. If you're already in positions, I would hold them. If the market does dip on Monday and Tuesday, I would buy or add to your positions, because I think Wednesday is going to be good news. Wednesday, we have the FOMC meeting, and it's likely that Powell will be slightly dovish. And then also on Wednesday, we also have Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla reporting results. Meta has been blowing the tops off and has just been going atmospheric. So I expect their earnings to be good. Microsoft, they are in an investment stage in AI. They're putting $80 billion into artificial intelligence. And I think it'll be a case of, are they continuing to spend on AI, which will have major implications for NVIDIA. Tesla also reports that day, and I don't think it matters so much what their results are. I don't expect them to have numbers to support what they're going to say, simply because they've been going up in spite of their numbers not being good. And it's all based on the idea that robots are going to be such a major thing in the future, and they're somehow magically going to come across with the robo-taxis, which may occur. Maybe they're doing something I haven't heard of, but I think he's able to generate excitement, especially being Trump's best friend and having a major governmental influence right now. ASML reports earnings in the pre-market on Wednesday, and they recently slashed their 2025 revenue guidance. So that is going to be important because they transfer the artificial intelligence onto the semiconductor chips, and it's the only company really that does that. And then on Thursday, of course, Apple is the big one by far. And also Intel will be of some interest simply because they are getting into making semiconductors to compete with Taiwan Semiconductor. I think it's interesting that Warren Buffett of Berkshire Hathaway got rid of half of his Apple right before it's taken a big dive. I think they are hurting because they are not selling in China as much as they used to. And China accounts for about 18% of their business. So it's kind of a big deal. Intel has always been struggling lately, and they're trying to find their footing. And we hope that they do find their footing. Whereas ASML, that's especially not a good sign for artificial intelligence if they don't come in with good results. Twilio is software that facilitates communication with customers. Its symbol is TWLO. I've been waiting for this one to come in, and waiting for months for a short-term trader is like a life sentence. But it's finally came in, and it came in a major way. They gave positive guidance for the end of this quarter, and they gave positive guidance for the next several years. Also, they are buying back $2 billion of their own stock. So this stock is taking off. Looking at the chart, you can see it went up 24% in the last month, most of it on Friday, where it went up from about 114 to 136. Wow. Its relative strength is 79, which is excellent on a breakout. More great news from Google, symbol GOOGL. They crossed and went above $200 for the first time on a split stock adjusted basis. Looking at the chart, Google has gone up 22% in the last month and has hit that 200 mark, which is a big deal. And this is the conservative way to invest in quantum computing. They recently just came out with the Willow chip. And the other quantum stocks are interesting, but this stock will succeed whether or not quantum computing succeeds, which would be amazing if it doesn't succeed. But I expect this to go forward regardless because of its other businesses, and quantum computing is just frosting on the cake. Looking at the speculative quantum stocks, I liked Rigetti and have invested in it. I also thought qubits, QBTS, that's the D-Wave stock, had possibilities, but I haven't invested in it. Ion Q has possibilities, but I haven't invested in it. And Defiance Quantum ETF, QTUM, QTUM is the ETF that contains all of these stocks. But my favorite by far has been Rigetti, and that has been the winner in this race so far for the last month. It's made over 16%. And the quantum fund, the ETF, it makes around 2% in the last month. I expect that to kind of continue, that it has more conservative stocks blended in with the speculative beings so that you get some kind of mixed result. But the other two have fell fairly hard, especially qubits, the D-Wave stock. And they were the most bitter about Jensen Huang making disparaging remarks about these new quantum stocks. So I'm going to stick with Rigetti. If I get stopped out on it, I'll stay out, at least for a while, unless it somehow regains strength. But I almost expect to get stopped out on it and just remain with the ETF. I invest in the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF, FBTC, and Bitcoin as of this recording is at 105,000. And I find the price of Bitcoin is a good gauge of how risk-on the stock market is likely to be. If Bitcoin is going up in price, usually the stock market is very much risk-on and they're going for it. But I think it's been positive. We have the most pro-crypto and pro-stock market president in history, probably. He signed a resolution to create a study group to see what they should do with the Bitcoin that they've already seized. It's almost certain they're just going to keep the Bitcoin they already seized. And the government obtained that Bitcoin for nothing. Why wouldn't they keep it is the other question. But what Bitcoin people really want to see, they want to see the United States government divert some of its gold in and convert that into Bitcoin, and so that you have like 100 billion Bitcoin per year being bought. I think there's going to be some resistance to that. I think that's a 50-50 deal. That's very much up in the air. Just a friendly reminder that this is not financial advice because I do not know your personal situation. You need to do further research and gather further information to decide if the investments I present are right for you. The stock market decided to go positive lately, so I've been leaving TQQQ, the triple leverage play on the QQQ, the 100 largest companies on the NASDAQ. I've been leaving it on for days at a time. So that's been going well, but it will so depend on Wednesday and what Powell says at the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. My MAGS ETF, which invests only in the Magnificent Seven, should continue to go up if Wednesday and Thursday go well. BROADCOM, symbol AVGO, continues to hang in there. Looking at the chart, it's holding on to its 41% gain in the last 3 months. It's hanging in there, and it's waiting for the big move on Wednesday. Vistra is a very successful Texas utility company that does all forms of energy imaginable. And Nancy Pelosi has recently been investing in it. And the story is that artificial intelligence needs all kinds of energy, and they're building lots of data centers in Texas. So that's where it's taken off, and it looks to be a good deal. And looking at the chart, the 3-month chart, it has made over 51%, and it's had a few hiccups along the way, but it keeps charging forward, and I think it's a good bet. Its relative strength is 73, which is excellent. And Reddit, RDDT, that stock has been wonderful. Reddit has been a runaway breakout train for the last 3 months, making 134% with a relative strength of 60, which means to me that it's underbought when it's breaking out like that and only has a relative strength of 60. I think it's underbought. Oracle, OpenAI, SoftBank, and the United Arab Emirates recently met with Trump, and Trump trumpeted that they were going to put $500 billion into artificial intelligence, mainly data centers. Larry Ellison of Oracle said that already 10 data centers were being built in Texas. You can see why there's all this excitement about Texas and the Texas utility. And Elon Musk, because he dislikes Sam Altman of OpenAI, he's actually suing him in court for $1 billion. Musk was saying that they don't have the money. And he said they only have 10 billion probably. But I think the United Arab Emirates, I suspect they have a lot of money, and they could probably fund the whole venture. Looking at the chart, you can see that Oracle was mostly chopping around until that deal was announced from the White House. In the last 3 months, it's made 6%, but mostly because it's been chopping all around. But then it sprung up last week on that news from the White House. Its relative strength is 64, which is good. So we will see what happens with this one. Credo, symbol CRDO, provides high-speed connectivity, Ethernet, for artificial intelligence for data centers. In the last 3 months, Credo has gone up 108% and has a relative strength of 61, which is decent. And the chart looks good. It's continually going up. And it is important to artificial intelligence data centers. So I think we're good with this one. ARISTA Networks, ANET, A-N-E-T, provides networking solutions for data centers. ARISTA Networks has made 31% in the last 3 months with a relative strength of 73, and you can see that it has a nice upward chart. So this one is another one that should be okay. Vertiv Holdings, symbol VRT, makes cooling systems for data centers. Looking at the chart, you can see Vertiv Holdings, which I've owned in the past, but it started going down and it was very choppy. And so I got out of it for a while. But then when it started to swing back up, I jumped back into it. It's made 35% in the last 3 months, and it has a relative strength of 64, which is decent. But it is a little bit choppy. It is having a strong uptrend recently. So let's hoping that the trend continues. We're still loving AppLovin, symbol APP, which does mobile advertising. AppLovin, of course, has a lovely chart. It's gone up over 127% in 3 months, and it has a relative strength of 61, which is okay. It went up to 350 fast, and then it's just kind of stopped and held there, and it's starting to make motions like it might try to hit the 400 again, which it hit not that long ago, sometime in December. So I'm hoping that we can revisit the 400 and go beyond it. Robinhood, the innovative stock and crypto broker, continues to do well. Robinhood has a great chart also. It's gone up 91% in the last 3 months with a relative strength of almost 74, and it's had some recent strong moves up. So I expect to see continued progress with this stock. NUSCALE, symbol SMR for small modular reactor. That's a small modular nuclear reactor. And of course, it has to do with the need for energy and people wanting to go to smaller, safer nuclear plants. It's kind of a neighborhood nuclear plant. I've been trading SMR since it was at $8 a long time ago. And you can see why I'm in and out of this stock when you look at the chart. It's up and down, but it's if you stuck with it, it made 61% in 3 months. But I think I've actually equaled that or bettered it by going in and out of it, because it is fairly volatile and reacts to news fairly strongly. Its relative strength is 64, which is good. Palantir, the data analytics company that is overvalued but has amazing technology, and I keep wondering if I should be in it, given that it has been very choppy layly. I am very ambivalent about this stock, but I stick with it. So what am I complaining about? Palantir has made 85% in the last 5 months, but I don't like the way it recently took that nice little swoop down, and it looks like it's having trouble getting above 80 and staying there. And with the shakiness of the market lately, just in the recent hours on Sunday night here, because of recent news that I'll disclose, I don't know how comfortable I am with this stock, but it has a relative strength of 61 over 61, which is decent. So I guess I'll stick with it. My 2 penny stocks are CERAGON and Fubal. Fubal recently has a deal where they're going to merge with Disney Live and Hulu. The deal hasn't been closed yet, okay, but news of the deal has made Fubo go up to $4, which was something for it. It went up, I think it went into the mid-4s, but now it's down to $4.04. The main danger is that the deal doesn't close. Now, I would think that the deal is going to close, being that Disney's involved, so that's less of a worry for me. CERAGON, CRNT, it has gone up 99%, and Fubo has gone up 158%. I mean, they've done very, very well. CERAGON sells telecom equipment to wireless providers. So I think these are both reasonable risk for penny stocks. I tend not to trade individual members of the Magnificent Eight simply because I own MAGS, which trades nothing but the Magnificent Seven. I do trade BROADCOM, which is part of the Batman contingent, and I trade the triple Qs on a day trading basis. So I figure I get plenty of these large caps. But I thought I should have a small amount of NVIDIA and of Amazon. And NVIDIA seems to be in a holding pattern. And I think NVIDIA likes to hang out in a holding pattern until it gets closer to earnings. And we can see what's going to happen with it. And Amazon, it's made 26% in the last 3 months, which is good. And I'm happy with that. So I will continue to own these. I feel like I must own them. Nancy Pelosi recently has been investing in NVIDIA, and it's always thought that she knows something we don't. So, breaking news, how Chinese AI startup DeepSeek made a model that rivals OpenAI. When Chinese quant hedge fund founder Liang Wenfeng went into AI research, he took 10,000 NVIDIA chips and assembled a team of young, ambitious talent. 2 years later, DeepSeek exploded on the scene. They've developed a large language model that is as good or better in some ways than OpenAI. Just amazing. They did it using $6 million. The Magnificent Seven are each spending hundreds of millions of dollars to develop large language models. I think this could be good news in a funny way, not for NVIDIA, who stands to lose money if these things get way cheaper, but the other companies that are the consumers that can buy these large language models for way cheaper, that would be good for them. So it might be a double-edged sword. The stock market does not like it. The stock market is down 430 points on the NASDAQ at midnight on Sunday night. And that's down about 2% for the NASDAQ. So the market is not a happy camper about this news, but we will see how it plays out tomorrow. It could tank the whole market, or maybe they'll find a positive aspect to it and they'll settle down and calm down a little bit. Thanks for listening.